And welcome back to the Marine Corps Movie Minute, where we break down movies of the Marine Corps 1 minute at a time. Today we're doing minute number 59 of Heartbreak Ridge. I'm Jack.
I'm Billy.
I'm Tierney. I like that we all went Madonna style.
Oh.
We only need one name.
Well, we've never consistently introduced ourselves or our guest or each other, so
No. It's a roll of dice each time.
we change it up. Hey, you never know what you're going to get.
Keeping people on their toes.
So this minute here begins with 1st Platoon marching off and an LAV crossing the road, and the minute ends with Gunny Highway talking about a search party for some Marines' testicles. So why don't we go ahead and peel this onion?
It is a minute.
Yeah.
It's a lot of dialogue it's a lot of back and forth between the Marines.
This is what really got me, because I like I said, I went in it cold kind of before I'd seen the movie. And last minute, I was like, all right, I'm fine. I'm sure I'll catch up. And then this minute happened, and I thought, no, I'm not caught up. Because Stitch Jones with no context is an experience. I was just like, what is happening here?
Stitch Jones with context is an experience, though.
Yeah.
And we are often going, what is happening here? Before we even started breaking the movie down minute by minute, we did a little, zero episode, and we were like, is Stitch Jones cool? Because we're not sure. Like, when I was a kid, he was super cool, but is he still cool?
Yeah.
I appreciate deep in my bones the fact that he has that bandage on high arrest. Okay.
Oh, Stitch needs to get his damn finger off the trigger.
Oh.
Sorry. Trigger control, you asshole. I'm surprised Gunny didn't smack him in the head.
If he smacked him in the head, though, he might have
discharged
profile.
Yeah, there you go.
Accidental discharge, exactly.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and he says something like, what was it that he was saying? They were making too much noise at the end.
It was unsling your...
Unsling.
Yeah, unsling your rifle, yep.
They just got the slings loose, making all sorts of noise. There's ways to tighten it up so that so you can keep it on without making noise, or you just take it all completely off. Like, when Clint Eastwood walks up and says that, he's got one of his pouches in the front open. I think he was planning to put his in there or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because he's just like unsling your rifle. I get I can figure it out, but then I was like, you're making too much noise, and I'm like, how much noise could it make? But I stand corrected.
So we learned in the Marines, there's only certain sounds that certain things make, and you can hear a rifle just moving with the rifle. The air, it makes a click or a metallic sound. That's the only thing it sounds like is a rifle. When you practice or when you train or whatever, typically what they want you to do is do it as accurately as possible, so it's ingrained into you. So Billy was right. Like they'll tape down stuff that normally moves that you might need attached, or they'll tighten things so it's nice and taut, so it doesn't rattle around. But none of this is going on here. It's like these guys are kind of alluding to, like it doesn't matter what we do. It's the outcome's going to end up the same anyway.
And that sets me up perfectly for my real question of this minute, which unfortunately is a yes or no question. You guys will probably answer it instantly. Did Gunny set this trap?
Don't know.
Yeah, that's a don't know. I could see him doing it. Yes.
Who else would have done? Because the whole point they say is like, what does this do here? This wasn't here the last, 3 times?
Yeah.
Got killed in this exact same scenario.
Yeah.
And so they seem surprised by it. Like, why would it be here unless it was something he set up to keep them on their toes as they're he guessed that they wouldn't take it seriously, so he set up a tripwire for them, I guess.
Yeah, as a training tool, make sure you walk, because that's another thing they teach you too when you're doing patrol training.
This looks exactly like me taking my 10-year-old on a hike when I was a counselor at summer camp. So, there is no Marine discipline going on as they head to the Right.
Now, I actually noticed something while you guys were talking about this, and you're right. Like, so they are completely undisciplined. Everybody's got their trigger on their finger. Collins has his trigger on the finger on the trigger. Yeah.
Whatever order that happens in, they shouldn't be touching.
Now, Profile, he had his finger off the trigger. He did it right. Forgetty was just kind of walking around, not even like throwing his rifle around, basically. Stitch Jones, clearly, he's got his finger on the trigger with a ring and everything.
Yeah.
He's practically holding it down. If you notice the guys behind him, though, right? After Gunny walks away and the camera follows him, there's a guy that's like, he turns around, he's got his back to him. They're all Marines. Those are real Marines that were in this unit that helped with filming.
Oh.
They're carrying their rifles the proper way with a proper stance. There's different kinds of carries. And they were doing a tactical carry, I think.
Yeah.
Is no immediate threat present, allows for control of the rifle while still moving, allow for quick engagement, and you're able to sustain for a longer period of time. Profiles they're all kind of doing a variation of a tactical carry. When we see first platoon, when they're just walking with their rifle sling still, they're doing a stronger weak side sling carry, which is like one of the most comfortable, and you can carry it the longest.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, I think you're right. I think Gunny set this up because he set up. This is a guy that put an AK-47 on the side of a path and ran up ahead of him and then shot at him with live ammo. So
yeah,
he put a tripwire up for sure.
Yeah, as a training tool.
I never doubted that Gunny could do this.
Yeah, I think he did, and that's especially since you said they've done it 3 times, and it was always in this spot, so they didn't know it was there.
You talking about the sling carry, I'm really sorry. It reminded me of something. I apologize on 2 levels because it has nothing to do with minute 59. I'm left-handed, so I noticed this. When they are shooting at the targets, and God, I hope it's earlier, someone is shooting left-handed. Mm-hmm. And I just always assumed that if you went into the Marines, they would be like, here's how you hold your rifle, you don't get special things.
That's about it. Yeah, you don't get special things.
Yeah, that way.
But does it matter? Because I would imagine that would completely change how, I've only shot a 22. I don't know what I'm talking about. But, I saw someone with the rifle butt in their left shoulder, and, my left shoulder had just enough muscle memory to be like, ow. And then I was like, wait a minute, that means that person's left-handed. I know a lot of things aren't transferable. You can't just be like, whichever shoulder is more comfortable, put it on. It's to me, it was like, wait, can that be right? Can the Marines let you shoot whichever hand you prefer? Because that does not track with anything I know about being a Marine.
So yeah, there's a little bit of flexibility with the training, but there's a right hand dominance and left hand dominance. The weapons they're designed right-handed.
Okay.
The majority of people are right-handed. They will teach you how to shoot left-handed, and the only thing you have to deal with is the brass ejecting into your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to make a comment on, because it's like that. The casings do go to the right. You can see it right on the weapon. So yeah, they either go flying. It's always funny when you're next to somebody who's left-handed because it's like you're face to face.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? So we've already talked about the lack of trigger discipline by Recon.
The only thing they're fighting is boredom.
Yeah. Well, when they're bored, they should be reading up on safety manuals, because I was just wanted to find out some information, right, about tactical carries and stuff like that, to compare and contrast. And there's all sorts of different stuff, And I touched on it a little bit. I'm not going to get too much more in. But I found these it's training. It's like training CMD Marines.mil. It's like it's a Marine Corps Combat Development Command, Quantico, Virginia instructors guides. And there's several of them online, and I found a whole bunch of them. Every single one of them starts with the 4 basic safety rules of
your weapon.
Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point a weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. Keep your finger straight and off the trigger until you are ready to fire. Keep the weapon on safe until you intend to fire. Like,
Yeah.
those, like to this day, like Perry and I, we will still keep our finger off of like the scanning gun at Target when you're like,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I am not ready to scan.
Yeah. Yeah. Until you're ready to make a purchase.
yeah. It's ridiculous how the things I like. I'll play like you know, I got like the Star Wars, you know, plastic guns, you know, Han's pistol, and I'll walk around with my finger off the trigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's just something that sticks with you, but apparently not these guys. It doesn't stick with them.
Okay, you know what is infuriating? I just realized I am a girl. I was born in the 80s. I have never served in the military. I keep my finger off the trigger. Someone, when I was a child, must have taught me to play, because when you said Hans Blaster, I was like, yeah, you always have your finger along the side. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like, I'm better at it than these guys.
Hey, these are the ragtag bunch that don't have time for this. You know,
Growing up playing Cold War made me better at it than these guys supposedly being.
right.
Because I kind of love this whole like back and forth they're having. We're like, oh, we're the modern mechanized Marine Corps. Like the contrast with that and Gunny is kind of perfect.
Yeah. Well, even when we were in, they always talked about this is like the new Marine Corps, and they would talk about the mothers of America have ruined the Marine Corps. But you know, even these guys are the new Marine Corps, but 10 years prior to when we were in. So
Yeah.
So it's always the breed, in front of you, like it was better when I was in type thing. And Gunny's definitely that way.
Yeah.
Forget he does say he's like, I thought I'd be jumping out of planes. Well, first off, a lot of them have jump wings. I thought all of them do, but a lot of them do anyways. So they definitely jumped out of an airplane before. So
he's just in a cranky mood today.
Yeah. But then he said we're fighting the enemy, and of course, the only thing we're fighting is boredom. There's a lot of that, a lot of hurry up and wait in the military.
Yep.
Yeah.
This quarantine's nothing for us because we're used to waiting around.
Yeah.
You don't know when anything's gonna happen or what it will be. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. The one line that Collins says where he said, after he says the modern mechanized Marine Corps, all we do is jump on our heads. It's not that funny of a line, but there's just the way he says it. Like that's something I used to quote all the time. Now we just jump on our heads. It's like, I love that line. It's so funny. And of course, Stitch is talking about how Hollywood's calling him.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not talking about it. He's singing about it.
Yeah. Oh, he does a lot of singing in this movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a lot of this stuff that he sings, Mario Van Peebles came up with on his own, or with one of the sound guys, music guys for the film. But he came up with the lyrics for a lot of these songs. To varying degrees of success,
Yeah. Some of his songs are a little better than others.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that seems probably par for the course.
Yeah.
If you're a musician, you're gonna have some hits and misses.
Yeah.
And he's just fooling around with his friends here, so I don't know. It's kind of I don't want to say endearing and that's one thing that I had kind of forgotten, that by the time I finished watching the movie, I was 100% back in the mindset. I kind of forgot how dirty guys in the military talk. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah,
like all the time.
Yeah.
It's not locker room talk. It's not like it's just saying stuff about sex and curse for no reason other than you can make those words come out of your mouth.
Yeah, it's an art form.
Amazing.
Yeah.
To do it well, it's there's a talent to it.
Like I joke, like my son a few times has tested the waters, shall we say, on what he get away with, and he doesn't always know the words that he's using, like what they really mean. And I joked that it's like Spock in The Voyage Home when he was learning to swear and he was getting it wrong. I was like, maybe lay off the colorful metaphors because you don't know what they mean. And I take pride in like, I'm no poet, but I can make an F-bomb come out when it shouldn't come out. Yeah, and that's the thing. I always laugh too when people are like, "Oh, there's no such thing as locker room talk." I'm like, really,
Bullshit.
really?
Yeah.
Come on. First off, I've been in locker rooms, but first off, I've also been in the military. You mean to tell me that there's some inappropriate things said? They're said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we can have the debate on if they should be said or not, but let's start from reality here.
Yeah. Whether or not they should be.
Said.
Well, and it's like, okay, like, so unfortunately, there's a few words that was very common in the 80s and would have been extremely common in the military at this time that get used in this movie that are no longer considered appropriate. I mean, they weren't appropriate then. That's why they were swear words and derogatory words. But they were more common. So you have to kind of forgive it for what it was and just say, that was then. How we choose to be now is a different, it's a different way. Like, you can't fault the movie for doing what would have been accurate at the time. Yeah. Now, if this movie were made today and you throw that in there, maybe that's, it could be frowned upon, like, you got to maybe rethink that, use something a little different. But
well, that's the thing too about the military is that in the military, you're going to have some horrible, like skull crushing, just disgusting things said to you by somebody that really loves you with all their heart. And it's not done with hate or malice. That's just the way we talk to each other.
I'm trying to look up exactly what her rank is. I follow someone on Twitter at Lady Loves Taft, who I absolutely adore. PAO comes up all the time. She's in the Army, obviously, and she went to West Point. And what I love is with her, like, she is very much like, oh, we're going to talk about the fact that there's sexual assault and you to fix it. And, like, if I overhear you leering at someone in your unit, I will crush you. But it's not like stuff like that where you're just saying it to say it. Like, I've heard some of the foulest things and been like, what did you just say? And like, I don't even know. I was just saying words. I don't even know what I said. and she seems very like that. I really like following her for that reason. But yeah, it's one of those things, like, it's not, you're right. If they did it now, it would be for the shock value.
Yeah.
And that I think that's why this movie, even though, as you said, it's kind of a period piece, it's 3 years after, but these guys aren't doing it to, like, shock, that's just, they're just talking to each other.
Yeah. When Lance Corporal Forgetti is having trouble shooting his rifle on the rifle range and he goes, hey, this fucking rifle's fucked up. It's fucking, he says, he says it like 4 times in a row. And I'm like, that is the most honest line of dialogue I've ever seen about a military movie, because that is exactly how he would have described it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no reason for that many F-bombs, but yet he fit them in. And that's exactly, I'm like, that is so honest. So, like,
yeah,
this movie's accurate in some regards.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny. When I got out of the service, I was with a friend of mine and her soon-to-be husband, and she invited a woman over from work, and me over too. So I think it was like a setup thing. We were all just having a good time and whatever, talking, and I didn't realize that we got talking about something. Apparently, I got passionate about whatever the subject was, and all of a sudden I look and my friend is staring at me with her mouth open like, oh my God. And her soon-to-be husband is sitting there and he's got the biggest smile on his face. He's trying not to laugh. And I go, what? I could tell. So I'm like, what? What'd I do? She goes, could you have said the F word any more times? And I go, what are you talking about? I said it like once or twice maybe in that. She goes, every other word you said was an F-bomb. I went, no. And I looked at her husband, boyfriend, and he goes, yeah, dude. I literally, it was like Will Ferrell in Old School when he like blacked out. I had no idea. I was like swearing so much. I'm like, wow, I got a problem. That's why when I had kids and I was telling everybody, hey, don't swear around in front of my kids. And my uncle's like, Wait, Brian is telling me not to swear?
I worked with kids growing up, so it's just I've always appreciated the creative non-swear swear. Like if you can say something that's just a normal word, but everyone knows you're swearing, that to me is like a level above in impressiveness. But I've worked really hard now that I have a kid. I'm like, sometimes grown-ups swear, but not all the time. Like I don't want that to be all you hear, because then you're going to repeat it. But like really, me and my friends, a bunch of us had kids at the same time. That just always seems to happen in friend groups, and it really was. It's like, okay, so we're all in agreement. If something slips, don't make a big deal about it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the one thing they'll pick up on anyway.
No, I'm now in the repeating thing. So yes, I waited till actually it's great. I waited till my kid went to sleep because he's a toddler, and then I put on this movie, and it was so loud at the end, and then all of a sudden I was like, I hope he's like really asleep and not listening to like gunfire for 2 hours.
Right.
2+ hours. It's a long movie.
We saw this movie as kids. We turned out okay, so not quite that young.
I snuck watching some of Platoon, and I was under age 7 because that's when we moved out of the house that I saw it.
Oh no!
Not great. Not great, Bob.
No. No. Although I can never watch Platoon without thinking of Leslie Nielsen and Priscilla Presley coming out of that theater laughing their butts off on Naked Gun. Like I always think of that. The only thing, okay, so just real quick, there was one thing I want to touch about on this minute, which aside from the fact that once the 3 Marines fall into the dirt, how much they're going to be cleaning those rifles once they get back to the armory.
Yeah.
Like that gives me like PTSD or flashbacks, you know? Like, there's no sand on there. I swear. All that sand, and I hate sand. It's so coarse, and it gets all over your rifle. I did want to say that Rodney Hill, Corporal Collins, is carrying a modified either AR-15 or M16, but with the M203 grenade launcher. But it's not a real grenade launcher; it's a mock-up. It's I saw this little. Yeah, it's a fake.
Now I gotta go look at it again.
It was made up to look like a real one, and it says it was one of the first fake M203 launchers that were made by Special Effects Unlimited Ltd. And later used by Hollywood rental houses. It's the same one used by Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie Predator.
Really?
Yeah, and it can. Wow. Let's see, the entire launcher was custom fabricated out of aluminum and designed to fire a special pyrotechnical charge. It is the same fake M203 used by Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie Predator.
Which was filmed probably right after this movie because it came out in 1987.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. So, and it says it was one of the first ones made, and they show it later in the movie too. A couple times he has it, and I think, so Collins always has it. He's always got that grenade launcher on there. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I do like when they trip over the tripwire. Gunny's like, "You're dead, Marine."
Yeah, we didn't really get into what Gunny this minute. Speaking of things inappropriate for children to hear.
Well, I like we often talk about how like these are like he's like the dad and these are like they're his kids, and that is like a dad moment. Like, where were you on that one? Like, what now I gotta go search for your testicles. Well, I mean, come on.
The one thing is that gave me massive flashbacks to reading The Things They Carried, the Tim O'Brien Vietnam book.
Okay.
So if anyone is listening to this, somehow has found a podcast about Marine Corps movies, but has never heard of The Things They Carried, go check it out. That Venn diagram should be a circle. I had to put it out there.
We know Reed good, so.
Yeah. Has it got any pictures in it?
I know.
Is it a coloring book?
I actually have a coloring book from France about D-Day, so
Oh. Wow.
I started to open my mouth and I was like, I can't dispute that because I actually do have a military coloring book. There's no permits.
Well, every time Perry and I try to do a coloring book, we never finish because we end up eating all the crayons.
Yeah, no, they're delicious.
Oh my god. Well, that's why I'm the lieutenant rank here. That I come bearing book recommendations.
Right?
I just listened to an episode of podcast I listened to called Friendly Fire about war movies, and they did Black Hawk Down. And
that's a good one.
Yeah, and my husband was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "I remember the movie, but I reread the book so many times, I'm like having trouble like remembering the movie and not kind of conflating the two." And he just looked at me, he's like, "That's like the nerdiest thing you've ever said out loud."
Now, that is a book I've read, and I've seen the movie and the book, and they're both excellent.
Yeah. We're good here. I'm sorry, I did not mean to put my literary review.
Oh, it's fine.
No, we got to have some, class to the podcast every once in a while.
Yeah.
I feel like he would insist upon it. As coarse as he can be, as much as he fires, AK-47s at his own troop, he would insist on that touch of class.
Yeah. Well, we think he's a warrior poet. He's well read.
We can't start on the magazines or we'll be here another half.
Yeah.
I will leave that to the people who have those to deal with.
See, he's a sensitive 80s guy. He's trying to get in touch with the sensitive side. So, well, okay. Well, as far as this minute, do you guys have anything else you want to cover?
I'm good.
No,
me neither. All right. Well, where can we find you, Tierney?
You can find me all over the internet as One Steel Sister, ONESTEELESISTER. It's my Twitter handle, my Instagram handle, and if you pop a .com on the end of that, you'll find my website, which has links to my writing, which better includes some books by the time this is coming out. And I'm in the midst of publishing, and it's a nightmare. And it also has links to my podcast and my guest appearance, including this one.
Excellent.
cool.
All right. Well, then we'll just ask everybody to come back on Friday and wrap up the minute. Can you come back on Friday, Tierney?
I can. I'm gonna have to, recover, get some smelling salts for my sensitive female. The vapors are getting me, but no, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry if you have to bleep the F word. I had to do it.
I don't know if you noticed, but I've been dropping a few of myself, so you're good to go. Well, on that note, then next time, Perry, watch out for that tripwire, or else we're going to have to send out a search party for your testicles. No, that's no good. I even wrote that one down, too.
And Clint Eastwood's not my favorite actor. He delivered it a little smoother.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I try to do my Clint Eastwood impression as much as possible, and it's terrible.
I look forward to that in the next minute. Let's hear it.
All right. Well, how about I do it now?
No,
I'll do it next time. All right. Let's just take it out.
No.
That's a nice teaser for next minute then. All right.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys, everybody, on Friday.